Hi, I'm Lori Spielman, First Selectman for the town of Ellington. And with me, I have two great guests, Tom, who's head of Public Works, and Carolyn, who also does everything behind the scenes at Public Works. Welcome.
Thanks for having us, Lori.
Oh, that's great. So, Tom, you always have, well, let's start. You have the largest budget
Yes.
for all the departments.
Yep.
But with that, everything you do, you only have 10 people?
No. Well, DPW as a whole, as a team, if you will, we're up to 28 now. But that gets broke down through various departments, whether it's Park and Rec, our grounds and facilities folks, or our WPCA consists of 3 folks, and then custodial staff. We have 4 full-time custodians. So when you break it down, we're about 10 guys on the road.
Right.
And then we have administrative team as well. Carolyn and myself kind of hold down the fort at the office, and then we have our foreman, Taylor Olson, assistant foreman, Kevin Gamacorda, and Sam Saunders is our recycling and refuse manager. So we have a lot going on every single day.
Things have changed so much in the last 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, I just can't believe, even this year, of how much you've gotten done and how much you do in town. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really, really proud of our team. We really strive every day to be very thoughtful about taxpayer spending and taxpayer dollars, and we try to stretch those dollars as far as we possibly can, which is one of the reasons we had our roads scanned this year. We completed that through the Beta Group company. They came in and did a LiDAR scan, which is basically creating a digital twin of our entire road network. And then through AI technology, they basically scored our roads. We came in at a 79.6, which is very high in the state of Connecticut when you look at all the other towns across the board. So we were pleasantly surprised, by previous administration that had done a great job leading up until the scan. And then we're going to use that data to really kind of figure out how do we preserve what we have rather than focusing on full rehabilitation. We look into additional preservation methods to just stretch those dollars even farther.
I do want to say, the finance and also the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, that's one thing that they don't cut. And it shows in our town, our roads. I think it's very important. You start cutting that and you start going downhill.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate to have a significant amount funded by grants and state funding. It's probably about 75% just in grant monies. So the impact of the taxpayers is relatively minimal in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, we run on about a $1.3 million budget for our road work. And we do quite a bit. We have 96 miles of road in town, 4 or 5 or so is unimproved, which those are their own animal when it comes to budget expenses. But we do a fair amount of work for the 96 miles that we do have.
And you also, WPCA, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so our Water Pollution Control Authority, I'm the administrator for the Water Pollution Control Authority in addition to my other responsibilities as Director of Public Works. Then we have a crew chief, Phil Kidney. We also have 2 WPCA Technician 1s, which are those are boots on the ground guys. Those are the guys out there every day doing pump station maintenance, grinder pump maintenance. We own 108 residential grinder pumps around the Crystal Lake neighborhood, or area, I should say. We have 2 different districts. We have the Hockenham Valley, or Hockenham River Valley District, and then the Crystal Lake District. And the entire WPCA is all self-funded by user fees. So that's really not a taxpayer funded item, if you will. That's all self-funded by user fees. So that's something that we also take into consideration. We know, folks that are using the sanitary sewer also pay property taxes in addition to the benefit of having sewer. So we want to make sure that we're very mindful on keeping up with infrastructure. We're doing a $4 million pump station upgrade in our Hockenham Valley district right now. That's a full renovation of the entire system, or entire pump station. And then we'll be looking at doing the same thing in the Crystal Lake region probably in the next 4 to 5 years. So that's ongoing, constant maintenance.
Wow. And Carolyn, you're behind the scenes pulling everything together.
Yep, and I do a lot of work with the WPCA as well. I do all the minutes for the board meetings, small administrative items that come in. If somebody calls, I handle their concerns, get them on the agendas for meetings should they need to. And Public Works, I get all the phone calls for the potholes, for any road requests, any winter requests like that. So I'm very involved in the mix.
So you have to be hands-on and know what every department and everybody's doing. That's
Yep,
a
we
lot.
get a little
to,
bit from every department, that's for sure.
That's a lot to.
It was a lot to learn. 2 years in now, and I think I've got my feet in the ground and doing a pretty good job. But
Yeah.
still, every day is a new experience.
Yeah. What else?
I just want to say Carolyn does a fantastic job. She's like my right hand. In my absence, she fills in and can run the show effectively. I'm usually in contact with her if there's a question that needs to be addressed, but she's just as well behind the helm, if you will, as I am. She's the one that answers all the phone calls for all the things that come in, good or bad, but she always does it with a smile on her face, and it's just wonderful to have her on board. And this is budget season. We're going to get into building our capital budget, and she's heavily involved in that process. And she really dives deep down into the budget process, and through the last budget process last year, I think we ironed out a lot of things that were confusing or maybe could be done in a different way to spend money a little better. So I really appreciate the efforts on her behalf, definitely.
Teamwork 100%, and that's the thing that's great about the DPW is it is a good sense of teamwork. We all really work together well.
Oh, it shows just on what you accomplish.
Yeah, we meet weekly, right, with yourself and the town administrator and the finance officer and the assistant finance officer. And those weekly meetings, I think, are extremely important to the success of our
In an
department.
hour and a half, we get a lot done.
Absolutely. Yep. It's and it's crucial, really, to make sure that everybody's on the same page. We have so many projects. I think last year was the largest project load the DPW has ever seen, period. And I think there was upwards of 27 projects, most of which were all grant funded. And with each grant funded project goes oogles of paperwork and submission and
Timelines, everything.
right, and you have to check all these boxes along the way so you can make sure that you actually get that grant funding, so it's not an impact to the taxpayers. And those weekly meetings really do help make sure that everybody's on the same page with that.
And then for the first time in forever, that you were a large part of the sustainable award that we're getting.
Yeah, yep. Sustainable Connecticut has awarded Ellington the bronze status, which means that we basically achieved a bunch of goals and milestones on the Sustainable CT checklist, if you will. I was happy to co-chair the team with Lisa Houlihan, our town planner, and it was probably about 15 of us on that committee, if you will, that really spent a lot of time.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work to get that done, and thanks to everybody on that team who did a really good job putting everything together and getting it submitted on time, and the awards presentation is coming up.
Yep.
Yep. So I have a lot of things that we could talk about. We have some new folks on staff. We have Saxon Marcelli, who's our new lead mechanic, who replaced Taylor Olson as he got promoted up to foreman for the DPW. And with that comes a new mindset in the maintenance garage, and we're implementing new things like a real fleet amortization schedule, which kind of tells us, by an average on when we should be looking to replace vehicles, so we know how to forecast our budgeting properly. We have a new fleet management software that's in effect, a new GPS system that's in effect. So it's really kind of nice to see all these positive changes coming into all of our departments. Park and Recs, we implemented a GPS line striper this year. We were fortunate enough to get that through the budget last year. And one of the things that our Parks Department struggles with every single year is field layout. We go out and we look for metal pins with metal detectors to find the corners of these fields. And, we're fortunate enough to allow folks sometimes in town to metal detect on town property, and they find those pins and then they remove them, and then we lose the corner of the field. So the process can take a really, really long time, upwards of weeks, with multiple staff members going out there painting lines and painting dots so they find a corner, and then they go look for the next one. This new GPS line striper, you literally bring it to the field, turn it on, activate the tablet, and hit go on the field that you're trying to paint, and it just does it by itself. It's amazing. Yeah, it was a really cool piece of technology that we're really happy to have launched within our parks department. We did some work over at the DPW last winter. We put some new flooring in our office. We remodeled the town hall kitchen last year.
It came out beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything came out
It
great.
really
Yep.
did.
We have a really talented staff, and they get to, it's nice because winter allows them to show those talents like in other areas, because typically we focus on road work and rebuilding catch basins and pothole patching and sign installation and all those things. And then we kind of can get into some more intricacy on the inside work when it's, flooring and cabinetry and raw edge countertops and all sorts of cool things that we just really don't have the opportunity to do anywhere, and it saves the town a lot of money. Having our own guys be able to do that saves the town a lot of money, so that's really fun. Right now we're rebuilding a handicap access ramp in the front of the Human Services building, repouring all the sidewalk in front of the building, and creating an easier way for folks that are restrained to a wheelchair to get into the building. Last budget process, we were able to get the push-button door operators installed, but it was still a little bit cumbersome to navigate in a wheelchair. So this year we're rebuilding the entire ramp system. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I also have some pictures that we could show so people could see. Maybe it doesn't look like much, but right next to it is a police building, and
Yep.
you took out all those overgrown shrubs. The guys did it themselves. They put in edging, they put in stone, and now they boxed out for a new sidewalk.
Yeah.
So that building will be set for a long time. And right next door is a Human Service, which you just talked about,
Yep.
redoing the sidewalk and an easier ramp to get in.
Yeah, and after the ramp is done, we're going to do the landscaping at that facility as well. So that kind of little section of our campus will be done, and then we can focus on other areas, because that's one of our initiatives in kind of our 5-year plan, is to address all building landscaping. Last year we did DPW, we did Hall Memorial Library as part of the parking lot expansion, which was another huge grant-funded project that came out really nice. And then there'll be a few more buildings as well to get their landscaping addressed.
What I really appreciate is I go all over the place, as you know. And I just happened to go by and turned around, and they were working on the police building.
Yep.
And I thought it was so great that the guys that were working on it came over and they said, "Hey, we don't like the sign here. What do you think about putting it up there?" And I loved how they just took the initiative themselves to move forward and plan ahead and think.
Yeah. It's another really great benefit of the folks that we have work with us every day, is that, a lot of them are out of the box thinkers. We put a problem in front of them and they get very creative with it. And a lot of times it's something that maybe you or I wouldn't have even thought of. And it's like, wow, that's a really good idea.
But it
Thanks for
bothered
thinking of
them.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought it was wonderful.
They take a lot of pride
I
in
was
it.
just going to say that.
Yeah.
They definitely do take
Yeah.
a lot of pride in their work. If they're going to put their name on it, they want it to be something they're proud of.
Yeah, oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, they do an excellent job every day, meeting the needs of not just the taxpayers, but the folks who work in the offices every day. Our custodial staff is fantastic. They run around every day putting out fires, if you will, for adjusting a temperature or doing whatever else needs to be cleaned up here or there, or hanging something on the wall or whatever the case may be. And it's just it's a constant process, and we're very fortunate to have a very talented team.
Wow, that's great.
Yep. So we mentioned our budget, and it's that time of year to start putting budget together. And I think one of the messages that I wanted to come across was that, while we mentioned DPW has an $8 million budget, about $2 million of that's payroll. Another 1.9, almost 2 million is trash. 1.3 is road work, and 460,000 is water, and 350,000 is electricity. So that's about 6 million, just over 6.17 million is just in basic operating costs. I just want to make it clear that we do a lot with the remaining balance of that, up to $8 million. So all the other things that get done on a daily basis are those items that come out of that $2 million. So as we go through the budget process again next year, I want to everybody to be comfortable with the fact that we really take into consideration getting the biggest bang for the taxpayer's dollar.
And just to elaborate a little bit, you really dive into that as far as our trash.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Sam Saunders, our recycling and refuse manager, has really done some pretty cool things with our recycling and trash services. We've probably doubled what we take in at the recycling center. We've certainly doubled the size of our recycling center, but as far as items that folks can come drop off to get it out of the municipal solid waste, curbside trash stream, has easily doubled. We have a mattress program available at the DPW, a paint program. We have a swap shop where folks can come drop off items that may no longer be good to them or useful to them, but may be good or useful to somebody else. And it's obviously all free of charge. We take scrap metal, we take waste oil, all those types of things have an avenue right at the DPW that don't cost the taxpayer anything. And some of those items even generate revenue. So it offsets the budget impact a little bit, which is great because trash is one of our largest line items.
I talked to quite a few residents as I'm dropping off cardboard or whatever, and they're all 100% happy with the convenience of dropping off electronics or cardboard or anything. They're just very happy that they don't have to go anywhere else. It's right there in the center of town.
We get a lot of great feedback on the recycling center, absolutely.
What would you say percentage of calls that come in are trash related?
I would have to go 80%.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Trash and recycling related. Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, so this year, the finance department decided to make a little adjustment.
Yep.
So you're no longer picking up Christmas trees?
Correct. Yep. So, part of the old budget coverage, I guess, if you will, was to provide curbside pickup of spent Christmas trees after Christmas was over and done with, and that has been removed from our offerings, I guess. So people will still be able to bring them to the recycling center and we'll chip them up there, or they can bring them to the brush dump. We'll likely have a day where we're going to open the brush dump up so people can come drop them off. But curbside pickup is going to be no longer available. However, another part of that budget process was the implementation of a punch card for the brush dump. So you get 10 punches or 10 drop-offs, if you will, on this little business card. It costs you $100, so $10 a punch. And then you can buy a one-time card for $20, so you'll have to have that punch card as well for Christmas tree drop-off. But it's just, it's part of the budget process. We had to get creative with things to try to make impacts where necessary to get a good budget passed.
Do you think, I don't know if any landscapers that we could team up with or somebody that will, if somebody has no way to transport a Christmas tree and to buy a punch card for one tree is...
Yeah, so that's actually interesting. We just had a conversation last week with Sam, who's working on with the Board of Education, and Sheila Grady, the Senior Center Director. So we're looking into a program where, as part of the high school students' community service offerings, they could potentially step in and help some of our senior citizens in town. Now, this has not been implemented yet, and we're going through the very infancy stages of it. But something like that would probably be something we could incorporate into that program. We thought about maybe like a fall leaf cleanup, or something where you could help an elderly person get their heavy electronic device down to the recycling center because they may not have the option or the availability of a truck, or just the strength to be able to get it out of their house. So that's going to be an interesting process to go through to see what that's going to look like, and hopefully it'll be beneficial to some of the students who attend Ellington High School, because part of their prerequisites for graduation is so many hours of community service. So that'd be a great avenue.
Yeah, that's wonderful if we can all work together and try to make it, just so we don't have any elderly people or even just people who can't transport it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
shared services is a big topic, right? Probably countrywide, I would say, getting DPWs and Board of Educations to work closer together, because it seems like over the course of many, many years, there's silos in between all departments, for that matter. And I think that we've been really successful in busting down those silos and working together with the Board of Education for some shared services initiatives. You know, we were able to utilize their licensed electricians and their licensed HVAC technician. In return, we provide some landscaping services and some vehicle repair services from time to time, and it really works quite well to build on those relationships.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
The more we can pull people together, like I said, I
Yeah.
think it's great.
I will
Absolutely.
say, even just in my short time here with the town in the 2 years, I've seen those relationships grow and thrive tremendously.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see all that come together.
It's been nice. It's even the same for our fire departments in town too. We've for some reason hesitantly in the past worked collaboratively with the fire departments, and I think that now we look forward to the business dealings we get to have with them and being involved in their projects and helping out. You know, it's good work for our staff in the winter to be able to go in. Last winter, or maybe it was the winter before, we did they had a roof leak, so we did a ceiling repair, and then we painted their entire training room up in the center fire department. So things like those go a long way. You know, it's a good investment for the town to make into the fire department, and then it also saves the fire department a little bit of money on the back end.
Oh, definitely.
Yep.
So on the Town of Ellington's website, it's general, things that are happening, it pops up. But if you want to know anything, Carolyn, you probably are ahead of this whole thing. If you go into Department of Public Works, what is on your site?
Oh, pretty much everything Department Works related. So there's some tabs on there for our like internal departments, grounds, WPCA, recycling and trash, and then you can navigate through there and find out. Sam's done a great page on the recycling and trash area. There's tools on there where you can pop in a word and see if it's recyclable or the correct way to dispose of it. There's a way to get a hold of WPCA in case of emergencies. There's a place where you can just put a ticket in and say, oh, I saw a pothole on this road. You can report it right through our webpage. So there's a lot of great tools on there.
And a lot of people are using it?
We do get it utilized quite a bit, yes.
That'll be great. There's so many different departments on our website. And one thing that I'm trying to make it more personalized too, with the department heads, a picture and a little biography.
We've
of
been
them.
working hard to get ours updated, our site, and again, Sam's done a great job on that as well. We've all kind of had meetings and said, oh, this would work better in here, and this is a little more clear if it's here. So our webpage seems to be flowing a lot easier now, and like I said, there's a lot of great information on there. And with winter coming up, you know, get your spring repair requests in right through our webpage. Let us know, you know, if there's any plow damage or anything like that. That's a tool where you can report that.
Yeah, and speaking of winter, that's a great segue. So, you know, you'll also see on the website and in the newsletter, the monthly newsletter, some instructions on mailbox installation and where the DPW's responsibility falls for mailboxes that get, you know, taken out during snowstorms. Usually 9 times out of 10 it's because of the snow load, if you will, that's getting thrown off the end of the snowplow. But all that information's on the website, and we're always happy to field calls and do site inspections for that type of
You know, we
request
could
as
do a
well.
whole nother thing on winter.
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'd love to have you guys back to
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
But I just want to have a few updates. Last weekend we had a ribbon cutting for the Starbucks,
Nice.
which is right next to McDonald's on Route 83. Be careful, tractors are out there with pumpkins and double wagons, and please don't pass on hills. I don't know how many people have passed me with a tractor and on hills. It's crazy. Also, this weekend, the new tennis facility on Lower Butcher Road is opening.
Oh, great.
And on Saturday, you can try a court out for pickleball or tennis for 30 minutes free to check it out.
Cool.
Also, we didn't mention about the lights. We
Yeah.
had first football game with
Yep.
Light Up the Night
Yep.
and Earthlight. We did a $2 million project.
Yeah, almost 3. Yeah, 2.97. It was a huge project. Lit a bunch of fields in town. There's something for everybody. Get out there and use the lights. The pickleball court and tennis courts and basketball courts are all lit for the public to use at Tedford Park and at the high school. And the running track is also lit, all by push button activation.
Now, how late are they open?
So at Tedford Park, they're on until 9 p.m. and the ball fields are by request only. So if you're a member of a ball, like a softball, baseball organization or football, you have to put a request in through the Park and Rec department. And similarly for the high school, you have to go through the high school athletic director. Those lights are scheduled to be off by 10, Sunday through Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, it's the way the planning and zoning approved it was a half hour past the end of the game.
Wow, that's great.
Yep.
And so our next show too is I want to have a list of all the projects you did this year,
Yeah.
because right down to Poulin's ice rink,
Yeah, the deck hockey
Or
is
deck hockey, I
completed
should
and
say.
open for use. Yeah. Yep.
there's so many projects, but
Yeah.
people don't even know. You did 2 outdoor fitness centers,
Yep.
one at Arbor Park and one at the senior center.
Yep.
We're doing a pickleball
Yep.
at the senior
At the
center,
senior center, that's coming up. Yep. You got
indoor fitness.
indoor fitness at the senior center, Market Park,
Yeah,
right? The new
farmers
farmers market location.
that's
right?
huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It seems to be a massive success.
Everybody loves that there.
Yeah.
It's the best location. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
and it
seems to
gave
be
us a
working
little bit,
well.
right, it gave us a little bit of opportunity to restore Arbor Park too and
Which
make
was
that.
another big project.
Yeah, that was another big project. So yeah, it was just endless really, it seemed like. It was, but we got through it, we're coming into winter now, things will hopefully calm down a little bit.
Well, I don't know about that. You always got a ton of stuff going on.
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
would like to have you both back because,
Great.
Carolyn, you have so much things going on that's a little different than Tom.
Yep.
But you deal a lot directly with the phone calls and the people and everything
Absolutely.
else. If my trash can has a big crack in it, what do I do?
So just give us a call. Really, the best thing to do is call the vendor and let them know, and they'll actually leave it. They'll switch it out your next trash day. But feel free to call the Department of Public Works, and we can always put that ticket in with the vendor for you.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have many?
We get a lot of those emails through our webpage and everything like that. Yeah.
It seems like a lot of stress on those cans, just
Yeah.
pounding and everything.
I mean, there's 5,400 households, I think, and surprisingly, we don't get that many in comparison to how many households there
They're
are,
pretty
but it's a
low.
regular occurrence, yeah.
And how's people recycling? Sam checks everybody out and keeps everybody on their toes.
Yep. Very
Yeah.
clean recycling in Ellington.
Yeah, we have the lowest grading possible, if you will, or I should say highest, but so the lowest charging bracket for our recycling because of the efforts that Sam's put in and making sure that we're offering a clean product.
Great.
Yep.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming on, and I'd love to have you, right before winter,
Sure.
Absolutely.
to come back on. We'll talk about snow and what's happening. But
Nice.
you guys are so busy, and I appreciate you so much. Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
having us, Lori.